This is Car Guys Talk with Andrew and Tavarish.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Today is a very, very, very special day because we're not in our studio.
We're not. We're in a legitimate studio with legitimate equipment.
We don't actually have a studio. It's just my house.
Yeah.
With my kitchen table in my office.
Thanks, IKEA.
Yes, but we are at Matt Mormon's studio, Mr. Obsessed Garage himself, and I want to introduce him because you guys should know who he is. But if you don't, then you can follow him on youtube.com/Matt Mormon, or is it Obsessed Garage?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thing probably just to search Obsessed Garage. You'll
All right,
find
so he has a website and a YouTube channel, and perhaps even some social media stuff called Obsessed Garage, and you're all about detailing, making cars clean, all that stuff. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. By the way, my name is Freddie, and you might know me as Tavarish. That guy over there, well, he's Mr. Finn Gergens, and some people know him as Andrew. How you doing, Andrew?
Hey, you know what? I'm doing all right.
All right, cool. So today I wanted to, since we're all here. The family's all here. The gang's back, you know?
Boys are back in town.
The boys are back. I wanted to talk a little bit about the stuff that happened with my Lamborghini.
Right.
So Matt recently came to my house and basically instructed me and helped me to get my Lamborghini dialed in. Okay? Now, we could have dialed it in a little more, but I wanted to use some stuff that was available to me, my old pads, and as some commenters have said, my ancient polisher. So I used a Porter cable, something or other, whatever.
Yeah, it has a weird, like it's 7424 or SX or something.
XP, yes.
It's so old that I can't remember what the model number was for that.
It might be 7424 XP.
Yeah.
Basically, the Model T of detailing tools.
Okay, it's not the Model T. You know, there's no...
Yeah,
listen.
You're right. A Model T would have been like a cyclopolisher, or believe it or not, they have belt-driven polishers.
Belt-driven, yeah.
Oh man!
And then you put that on your Rubenesque wife, and then
like,
she jiggles and loses weight.
It's very similar
in the
to that.
30s.
It's double. You know, they're double handled. They have a big giant pad that rotates. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a single action belt-driven polisher.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't have one of those, but I had something that was it's a hand-me-down from an old detailing friend of mine, and we decided to do a detail on my car.
Yeah,
and
use what you got in a typical mechanic's garage. You know, a DIY mechanic's garage. What do you have? You have more than probably the doctor who has a set of screwdrivers, Black & Decker screwdrivers, but you don't have state-of-the-art equipment.
Sure.
Could we do it and dial it in?
So I wanted to go over with you, since you're about the ultimate, what can you tell a person that wants to keep their car clean and maybe wants to take it to the next level, not necessarily spend their entire, paycheck on something, but just something to have their car relatively maintenance-free, something, not necessarily maintenance-free, but just something that where they can maintain it and it's going to look nice all the time.
It starts with washing, right? If you show up with a Brillo pad and you start grinding away on the paint, you're going to create some problems. And so you want to wash it properly. If you wash it properly, then hopefully you don't need to polish very often, right? So you don't need to go and do more advanced stuff.
Yeah.
And washing properly, to me, there's some simple things. Use 2 buckets.
Sure.
I have $350 set of buckets that everybody makes fun of me for. You could go to Home Depot and buy a couple of buckets for $10.
Okay, so maybe we should talk about what you just said. You have a set of buckets for $350. Now, why is that?
It's what it costs. You know,
I know.
We have a dolly, right? So the bucket goes in the dolly,
right?
And then the dolly normally comes with a 2-inch cheap caster. I'm like, wow, this would be way better if we put a 3-inch, more sophisticated, better caster, and
something that they would put on the space shuttle, right?
And then it would be nice if those 2 dollies were connected, so you have a plate,
right?
And then, a normal bucket is 5 gallons. Well, 5 is just a little bit too little. We need a little bit more. 7 gallons too much, so we need a 6-gallon bucket.
Right.
And then rather than a 70 mil bucket like from Home Depot, I want a 90 mil bucket. It's
Okay.
a little more stout. Then you have a grit guard to for the dirt to go under. And then I want a gamma seal, or I want to be able to put a lid on it. So I need the gamma seals.
Right.
And if we're going to do that, we might as well color code it.
Yeah.
And then because I like to keep all my wheel stuff together, let's create a wheel bucket. And then we got to label them, and we can't just put labels on them because the labels will peel off, and so we need to get vinyl wrap that you would use to wrap a car. Well, I have
Dude, I'm getting excited over these buckets right now. I'm like, there's a lot going into this thing.
I'll tell you, at one point, I ordered 27 buckets.
Yeah.
I just went every U.S. Plastics and Uline, every place I could figure out.
Right.
I bought them all. I laid them out in my garage, and I just figured out which one I liked the most. I pulled on them and stuck the grit guard in there, put it in the dolly. Which one do I like? And the problem is the best bucket, the one I like the most, is $20 a piece.
Right.
So you got 3 buckets, $60. You got the $50 dollies. You got the casters. You got the gamma seals.
So it's a
and it
whole
adds
system.
up.
It's not like you're selling just like a Home Depot bucket for $350.
Well, and that's the thing that gets me in trouble is people are like, dude, you could buy a bucket for $10. I mean, I can do that. But if you actually went to the store and bought all this stuff, it would cost you $350.
So I had a conversation with my mom today because she saw a video of Ed Bolian's, and he was talking about the Bugatti Veyron that he wanted to buy, but he couldn't. And then,
I was just watching that video today.
Yeah.
You got me all into it, and I started watching it.
Yeah, so the whole story with that, you guys can see that on my channel. But a Cliff's Notes of that is that a Veyron went into a lake by a really shady dude who was trying to have an insurance claim on the car, and he didn't know that he was being videoed. So then he went to jail for 10 months, but the car exchanged hands a few times, and then it got dismantled because they wanted to put it together. And now it's in 1 million pieces, and it's for sale for $300,000. And that is way below market price for a Bugatti Veyron of that year. So Bugatti Veyron would sell between like 700,000 to 900,000.
Would that be an unmolested, or what would an unmolested low mile vintage of that?
Well, first of all, there's no high mile Veyrons. They don't exist.
Well, I mean, low.
Let me get me a runner Veyron. How about that? Just get me a driver. Like, no.
Could they run? Has anybody driven one 100,000 miles or 80,000 miles?
No.
Probably not.
No, I sincerely doubt any Veyron has ever gone like 50,000.
What's the service life on that car, on the W whatever 12?
16.
So it's a W16 quad turbo. The service life is you take it to the dealer. They basically hack the car into in half. They take everything apart, and then in order to do an oil change, there's like 16 drain plugs, and you can do stuff yourself. Like, let's say you have like a big shop and you know a lot of stuff. You can definitely work on this car yourself. It's just going to be a pain in the butt. However,
so that's part of the contributor of why they aren't high mileage ones. Anyway,
right.
Get back on track.
Just to make just accentuate your point about having things that on the surface don't look as expensive as they should be. I was explaining to my mom, who saw that video. She was like, "This car is $300,000. Like, why is it so expensive?" I'm like, "No, that's cheap for that car.
That's like, wrecked."
Yeah, that's
wrecked, dunked in 1,000 pieces.
That is completely like
destroyed.
Destroyed.
Right.
Yeah. I said when this car was new, it was around $2 million. Like with all the fees and all that stuff, $2 million. So, and she was like, "Is it made of gold?" I'm like,
"There's some gold in there."
I'm like, "Well, kinda." I mean, you got to think about, there's aerospace engineering in it. Everything is basically a one-off. I'm sure that they use some Volkswagen Audi Group parts and stuff.
I forgot where I heard it. I may have heard it on Top Gear or something. They were saying just the indicator stock on that thing is like a single piece of milled
magnesium.
And it's like 30 grand for the indicator stock.
Right. Yeah. So it's like they had to create their own species of pixies to make this this little thing. Right. Yeah, it's really. I told her, like, think of a handbag, like the nicest handbag you can get. And why is it that expensive? Why is a handbag $10,000 when you can go to get a handbag at any store for $5-10? It's because there's craftsmanship goes into it. It's because there's a level of detail that you're never going to see.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them. But I'm saying with
Louis Vuitton excluded.
Yeah. You're paying for basically a sale material covered in plastic.
I am out of my depth. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. That's a conversation.
The
between
Tesla
you.
store that I worked at was right next to Louis Vuitton, so I heard a bunch about Louis Vuitton when I worked at Tesla. That's all I know.
You guys ain't LV people. I'm not.
I'm more of a Coach
I have
guy.
no allegiance to any of these companies.
More of a
Matt
Coach.
Farah speaks to that because his dad was, a Ralph Lauren guy.
Lauren, yeah.
So I've heard, him speaking to the cheapness of Louis Vuitton. Anyway, I get your point.
Yeah. But that's basically the point. So your buckets are the Veyron of buckets.
Yes.
Nobody will spend the amount of time that you spent on those buckets. And when people buy a $350 set of, it's not buckets, it's a system. It's a wash system.
It's a vetted, curated system.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's been tested, and I'm like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would quite put it in that category, but it's the we use this analogy a lot. It's the Porsche 911
GT3 RS.
Yeah.
Of buckets.
Yeah, it's the Porsche variant.
yeah.
It's been vetted, it's been tested. I've been using buckets since I can remember.
Yes.
And so I have a very expensive set of buckets, and those who value that and don't want to buy 20 buckets to figure out which is the right one.
Yeah.
And those that value, the testing, then they buy it.
But that goes throughout your line. Like you have everything in your website is just vetted by you personally. You've done lots of testing, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started this whole sharing experience of just saying, here's what I use. Here's what I use in my garage. Here's the detail spray that I use. Here's the wax that I use. Here's the bucket that I use. And people have... I think a lot of people have trusted that or said, yeah, let me see if he's full of crap or not. And they went and bought it. And they were like, oh, shoot, maybe he's right.
Yeah.
And so the stuff that I'm using it may or may not be the best in the world, but it's at least good. We at least know it works.
Of course.
And so nothing that I use doesn't work because I have bought stuff that hasn't worked, and I've been doing this for a long time.
And you wouldn't promote that.
Right. And the funny thing is I really haven't promoted anything. It's just, hey, here's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing is like people think that I'm pitching. I'm like, which it comes across that way because I get so excited about this awesome stuff, but it's just, here's the stuff that I'm using. Here's why, and people buy it, and then those people get made fun of by other people for listening to buying something good. It's a weird dichotomy.
Isn't it weird
the internet,
how attached people get to their purchasing decisions? It's so crazy. Like if you buy something and it doesn't turn out to set your world on fire, it's okay.
Right.
Like that's totally fine. Or if you buy something that you like but other people don't like, or you see somebody buy something that you don't like, that's okay too.
Like we were at dinner and we were talking about, or even last night, just razzing each other about car decisions.
Yeah.
Of course. You choose what you choose, I choose what I choose, and I think it comes down to self-awareness. If you're somewhat self-aware, you can be aware when you're being a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, of course.
I'm a full proponent of self-awareness when it comes to being ridiculous. I mean, have you heard my car?
Andrew has the most obnoxious car I've ever heard in my life, and he loves it.
Yep. I will draw the line in the sand, and I will die on that hill for that purpose.
You'll die on that popping and farting foot. That's what.
Yep.
So Matt, I wanted to ask you. So let's say somebody is, they just bought a new car and they want to maintain it. What should they get? You said started with a nice wash, but there's a lot of. A wash could mean go to the hand car wash or go to the automated one or what should you do? So
I think there's lots, especially if you're watching a lot of videos and a lot of social media. I mean, foaming the car has become so popular. Right. To foam the car properly is pretty expensive. So if I were recommending to someone that was looking to get started and do it properly, but didn't have a lot of cash, forget the foam.
Right.
The foam is glory. The foam is good, but it's not. You're going to use more soap. You got to get a proper pressure wash. You got to get a foam cannon. And then what happens is then you go and buying a bunch of cheap garbage that doesn't work.
Right.
And so you wasted all this money on all this stuff that you really don't even need to do.
Plus time.
Yeah,
a lot of times
you got to get that all set up, right? Your pressure washer, and so you get this crappy pressure washer, crappy foam cannon, crappy soap. I would suggest let's just skip all of that. Let's get some decent soap, and a couple of buckets.
Right.
And then I would put a grit guard in the bottom of the bucket. Like a little, you've seen them, the little grate that goes in the bottom.
I just bought some, yeah.
They're cheap. You can get them $8, $9, $10, $12. If you want the real thing, they're $12.99 from Grit Guard. Put that in the bottom of your bucket, and then spend a little money on your sponge or your pad. I like the best pad on the market is a microfiber madness pad. It's $27. Get one if you can swing it. Get two of those. So get a good soap. My preferred soap is Adams car shampoo. It costs $40 a gallon.
So should people use like dish soap or something if they're trying to get everything on?
No, because dish soap, there's two problems with that. One, it's designed to break down stuff, so it would break down your wax or your coating or whatever you had on the car, your protection on the car, which we'll get to.
Right.
The other thing is it leaves a residue behind. Think about what your hands feel like. It kind of softens your hands. Well, that leaves something behind on your car. A lot of people will use Dawn to strip. Right. But even then, it's not a great stripping soap because, again, it leaves some stuff behind. So I would suggest getting, real common soap. Chemical Guys make some. They have 47 different soaps, which I don't like. But you can pick any one of them; they'll do decently.
Just get the one that smells the best.
Yeah. And again, a lot of the soaps at the auto parts store usually don't work very well. So I would recommend, again, skip all the glory stuff. Get good soap. Okay. Get a good pad, good soap. Get cheap buckets.
So just kind of the fundamentals. Of everything.
Yeah. So skip all that extra stuff, and you start with that. So if you're using two buckets, and one is the rinse out my pad, put it in the soap, wipe the car. Don't use any pressure.
Okay, cool. So then you've got the car washed. Now, how do you protect it?
That's where it gets a little trickier.
You need $5,000 worth of polishers and equipment and.
No, I mean for years and years and years, I think I've only been polishing a car for 10 or 12 years. I mean, most of what I've done my whole life was just strip it with some Dawn, right? And I'll actually have a soap coming out here. I had to go create because there isn't one that exists to strip the old waxes off. So strip it with some Dawn. Or what you could do is take that soap I just told you to buy and put some all-purpose cleaner in it, so mix it 50-50.
Kind of like a degreaser type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Purple Power or...
Simple Green or...
Yeah, that's a little aggressive, but something like that.
Fantastic.
Dilute it.
Fabuloso or something.
So put it in with your, with your soap, and then strip the surface, get it prepared, and then you're going to want to clay it.
Okay.
So go to Advance Auto, go to AutoZone, go to O'Reilly's, get a Mother's clay bar.
They're like $20, something like that.
For a pack, Usually they'll sell it with a detail spray and a clay bar, right? And so you want to lubricate the surface. You could use soap. You could use your car shampoo, like my good friend Larry Cosilla, Ammo NYC.
Right.
He's a proponent. Just get soap on the car, take your sponge, put soap, and then clay it. I like to use a dedicated clay lubricant, like a detail spray.
Right.
So they'll usually sell them as a kit. Personally, I use Optimum Clay, and then I use a product called Nanoskin Glide, which is still inexpensive. $20 for the clay bar, $25 for the clay bar, and $15 for the bottle of the detail spray. But it's a concentrate. You can make 20 gallons with it.
Yeah, so it lasts for a while. You're not going to have to buy this every week or anything.
So you lubricate, you clean it, and what that does is, we showed that in your video, yanks off all the dirt, the heavy stuff.
Oh yeah. You get lots of little grits and stuff. Like you can't see it on the surface, but that picks it up.
And you don't have to do that. The way you can tell is just run your hand across the surface. We showed the baggy test where you take the bag and you run it across. If you can feel crap, then you probably need to clay it.
Right.
You don't always have to clay, and you don't want to overly clay, because think about it. I'm taking this thing, I'm rubbing it on the surface. I'm causing, it's an abrasive.
Yes.
I'm going to cause some marring. The more contaminated the paint is, those little things, they'll scratch the surface.
Right.
A lot of it you can't see, but it's there, and it kind of dulls your finish, especially a black or dark blue or dark gray or something like that. So that gets it ready to then you could just go right to waxing. So you clay it, rinse that off, dry it, maybe get some isopropyl alcohol from Walgreens or CVS, dilute that to say 20%, 20 or 30%, spray that, wipe it so you have a good clean surface, and then use something like any old wax. Colonite 845, which
Colonite is really good. I mean, you have to get a little warm. You have to run it through like a tap or something.
Colonite has been a staple for me for years. I mean, I have all this high-end crap out there. Shoot, I've got a $350 bottle of wax right there, or a tub of wax, Swiss wax, and I'd choose Culinite. Over that.
It's really
easy
18, to use,
$19 a bottle.
Yeah, it's really good.
And so you'd put that on, and then you top that every 9 months or so, and then go back to your washing with 2 buckets, and that's all you need to do. And your car will look good. The other thing that I'd recommend is when you go to Cars and Coffee, when you go to whatever car show, whatever Hella Flush show you're at or whatever, don't...
If you have a Mustang, please be careful when you're getting out of those things.
Don't wipe your car down with a single towel. Only treat and wipe your car when you have the right stuff.
Okay. So what should you do? You said wipe your car down with a single towel. So should you have different towels for different surfaces?
If you're going to touch the car, like me, I'm Mr. Detail. I go to Orlando Cars and Coffee, and it usually looks like it did last night. It was bugged crazy. It looks like the bugs exploded because we're in Central Florida, and I just eat it. Just leave it.
Yeah.
Don't touch it. Because I know that I'm going to scratch the surface if I try to get them off if I don't have the right stuff. Yep. If I did bring the right stuff, I'm going to use a waterless wash.
Like an Optimum something?
I like Optimum's waterless wash.
Right.
And I'm going to hose it down. I'm going to use 15 towels. And I'm going to do that trick we showed in your video where we flip it in eighths.
Yeah.
I'm going to wipe really gently, and then I'm going to flip it and wipe a little bit less gently, and then I'm going to spray some more.
I hear you getting excited here, man. You're like, ooh, something's dirty. I can clean it.
I actually don't like doing that because it's really messy. I would prefer to drive it home, get all my crap out, and
do the proper thing.
Do the thing.
Yep.
So you're more about you're really about efficient, like being efficient and making sure that you have the best product available. If there were, or if there existed, a machine that you could put your car into and it did everything, like a machine wash, but it actually worked, it did mar the paint or whatever. Right. Would you be a proponent of this machine?
Well, I'd be screwed, wouldn't I? My business is tough.
I know, but if it gave you a better, if it actually gave you better results.
Sure. I mean, believe it or not, I don't really like washing my car. It's a lot of work. It's sweating. It's hot. What I like is the result.
Right.
I didn't like building this office, but I did it, and I enjoyed it because I knew what the result would be.
Yeah.
And so for me, the washing part, I hate.
Yeah.
I like the gear way more than I like the using of the gear. I like tools. I don't like using the tools.
You know what? I'm like you in a lot of ways. I mean, I like the cars. I like the engineering involved. I like problem solving, but doing oil changes, like, not my favorite thing. You know, getting super sweaty and you
have to do it if you want.
You got to do it. Yeah, there's no other way.
I'm addicted to the result.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And by proxy, I'm addicted to the sharing of the result. And so that's why I think we share this similarity. That's why a podcast and a YouTube channel exist.
Right.
Because of the addiction to the, hey, I've done all this work. I've created this process, and man, I'd like to show other people that process. That's the drug for me,
right?
And the chasing of the product. Like for you, it's probably was it chasing the car, finding the.
It's more. I love finding deals on cars, and I love finding the value in cars. So if I find the SL that was $8,900, and it's like, hey, this is a supercharged, hand built AMG. At some point this was $140,000 car, and now it's just this. It needs to be rescued. It needs to be restored. It needs to be kind of. I need to put my mark on this. So that in that way, I think we're very similar. But in another way, I mean, you buy cars that are pristine. You want the best of the best.
I like the car configurator. I like the process of building it, the process of deciding which option to choose, what options suit me. I like to know that I like to wait for it. I hate to wait for it, but I secretly like to wait for it.
Are you a window shopper?
No. Well, I guess by proxy I am. I'm a laptop shopper.
Okay.
I sit on my couch watching football or baseball or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm multitasking by searching for whatever exhaust. I'm addicted to UPS showing up at my house.
Oh, listen.
That's why this entire business, this entire building exists. Now it's like a freaking bonanza of the most amazing
it's
crap
Christmas
show.
every day. That's what it is.
That's what my wife
there's
says, yeah.
There's a bunch of packages that came for you. All right, just put them over there. Like, you're not even going to check what they are? Like, I'll do it later. And then they have a giant wall of packages. I just made a video just doing an update, and my living room is full of packages. Like, it's half of the living room is just packages of wheels, tires, just components of every car that I have.
He basically has a small Napa warehouse in his living room.
That's fun.
Yeah. No, that's sort of what you got to do, you know? So when did you start? You said you started detailing about a decade, a little more than that?
No, I mean, I've been detailing since I got a car. You know,
Right.
It started with, you guys remember the Absorber?
I do not. What is that?
The Absorber was
like a
like
chamois?
it's like a synthetic chamois.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was like Walmart.
It's like a ShamWow type thing.
It's a scratch machine, you know.
Of course.
Yes.
But I mean, I remember just shopping.
It's a scratch machine.
I'd be at the in the Walmart aisle just looking at things. I'm like, man, you know this. I got to get. My goal was to have 2 absorbers,
Whoa.
so I could have
Dangerous
one,
thinking, dude.
And then I was using a water blade, you know, where you'd blade off the water, which is another scratch machine.
Big time.
And then I started.
So what's a water blade?
Just picture like a neoprene or like a plastic blade that you hold in your hand, and
It's a handheld windshield wiper that you drag
Basically,
across.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
it's like a squeegee.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
a car squeegee. Yep. And
Ooh,
that's another scratch machine.
Yep.
But it works because you just blade the car, all the water
Right.
off the car, and it makes
Yeah.
it easier to dry. And then I graduated to clay barring, and then so I started driving. I'm 38 years old, so I just started driving in '96.
Right.
Right, and then my first car was a Pontiac Sunfire GT, and I wanted to learn how to take care of that. And so I'm washing with Dawn in the driveway with an absorber eventually. And but I would wash it, once a week or twice a week, something like that. And then, as time went on, I eventually got a Chevy Beretta. Remember that sweet machine?
Was it a Z28?
No, Z24.
Z24,
Yeah.
I wanted a Z24. Actually, what I really wanted was a Ford Probe GT.
Oh, yes.
Dude.
Manual.
First or second gen?
Let's see, this would have been like a 92, 93.
So that's first gen. So
yeah.
first gen, you would have had the
Oh,
turbo.
the first gen was the boxy,
boxy
one.
one.
No, I'm talking about the rounded one.
Okay, so that was 96, I believe, something like that, somewhere.
Okay,
around.
yeah.
Or 95 maybe.
Yeah, probably 94, 95. I remember it was like 10 grand for the car.
Yeah.
I'm, 17, 18, because my Pontiac Sunfire GT had a cracked block. And it was a 1.8 liter turbo.
Right.
But it was actually pretty decent, but it would overheat, and I could only go one place.
Right.
And I'd have to stay there for like 5 hours, and then I could go the next place.
That's okay.
Otherwise, it would just shut off in the middle of the road.
Quality time that it's given you, really.
Right. So as obsessed as I am now, I once was a trailer park kid. So that car was $2,500. I bought it with my own money.
Of course.
And it was beautiful. It was nice, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And so the Chevy Beretta was the next step. I wanted the Ford Probe GT because I was a system guy.
Yeah.
I wanted some 15s in the trunk. Believe it or not, I was a big Wu-Tang guy.
You wanted you wanted some bump?
I was a big into clips and MTX. Remember back in the day?
Yeah. Were you a kicker guy?
No, kicker was I was a Clips MTX mainly because the dealer in my town didn't have kicker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But and then JL eventually
I don't do
came
square
around.
tweeters, man. I don't do square woofers.
Yeah, that's the Solo Barrack Square. It was
Yeah.
like toward the beginning of
Right,
my stereo days, and so I got that Beretta because my dad said the Ford Probe was too fast.
That Ford Probe was decently quick. I mean, the V6, it was the same one as they used in the Mazda MX-6.
Yeah.
That was like 170 horsepower, but it sounded really good.
But it was a sick hatch, it was a hatch.
It was really nice.
So I wouldn't have to deal with all the vibration and crap that you do with putting 15s in your trunk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I did.
I think right now a Ford Probe GT is probably the nicest car you can buy for like $600. If you can find them. But I love the shape. The shape looks
it's
really
a very
good.
good shape.
Let's say I don't want one anymore.
If I were to buy you one, if I were to buy you the nicest one, would you say thank you, or you'd be like, get this crap out of my face?
Yeah, I'd punt it in the trash.
Man.
Oh, no.
Maybe I'd have more subscribers if I wasn't so ornery or something.
What is this? Get it off my property.
Maybe I should do that. I should go get the car that I never got and put a crazy system in it like I would have, but do it all myself, hack it all up, and cut my own MDF and put some 18s in there.
I feel like you're saying you would hack it up and do it all garbage.
It'd be $50,000.
Yeah, and I feel like you would do it way better than most shops could do.
So I need whale skin for the back seats because that's the best sound insulator.
I want my car insulated with lion's mane.
I'd have it down at Ultimate Auto. They'd be doing Alcantara headliner in my Ford Probe.
The nicest Ford Probe in the world. Right.
I got a friend that works at Ultimate Auto. He could hook you up.
Yeah. Well, I'd have it there for sure.
Okay, so we have a few questions from the Peanut Gallery here, and one guy, actually, I thought it said Mazda. Oh my god, how serendipitous. Mada's Petrolhead says, how long does it take to ceramic coat an entire car?
Well, the ceramic coat part is easy.
Right.
It's the prep.
Getting to that part, yeah. It's
like
always the prep.
I wanted to do more to your Lambo. I wanted to bring it up here and do surgery on the thing, but to actually ceramic coat it, an hour.
Mm-hmm. But okay, so let's say like the process to ceramic coat, because that takes prep work to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on average to ceramic coat about 16 hours.
16 hours.
Yeah.
So basically 2 full working days. If somebody were to do it, call it 3 days. 3 days of like
3 days
good
is
work.
the best way to do it, because let's say you have normal schedule 9 to 5 during the week.
Right.
Friday I decon it. So that's where we strip wash it, we clay bar it, we iron remove it, we iron remove it, then clay bar it, and then dry it. And that way it can dry overnight. And then the next Saturday morning, I'd tape it.
Right.
Because it sucks taping. No matter how much you blow out all the cracks and crevices, there's always water, falling.
Yeah, there's always something that gets
So then you
there,
tape the trim, then you polish, and then you have to figure out, do I have to do 2 steps of polishing? Now you're 30 hours in.
Yeah, you got to figure out the combo of the
so you do a test spot and figure out
all the test spots.
What I had always done is just grab a polisher and just go, and whatever happened. It's only in the last 5 or 6 years that I've become more sophisticated through training, where I'm doing test spots and seeing what if I add some water as a supplemental, wetting agent, doing all kinds of crap, using lights and depth gauges and gloss meters and all this other crap. But you let's say you're doing a single step polish, then you're at least 5 or 6 hours, and then you're going to wipe the polish like we did. We remove the polish oils and then you coat it.
Okay.
So you could a Friday and then a full day Saturday.
Okay.
Or a Friday, full day Saturday, and let's say you're going to do 2 coats of the coating depending on what it is, and then you let it cure overnight, put the second coat on Sunday morning, and you're done.
Okay, so basically a weekend, like a long weekend, but you're going to have to concentrate and make sure that the prep work is all there.
If you're going to do wheels and tires and all that crap, then, now the wheels and tires are going to add another 5 or 6 hours to the work.
So you can do, I've seen a lot of people tell me to do my wheels, but also the calipers. Can you do the calipers?
Yeah, it's paint. Or powder coat, one or the other, but yeah.
But wouldn't the heat have some effect on that? Because they get mighty hot.
I guess, but they do make some higher temp stuff designed for your wheels. G-on rim, Kamikaze stance, G-Technic C5. There's all kinds of wheel specific. But
these all sound like body kits from 1999.
They're just
Kamikaze stance on my Ford Probe GT.
Use that new C West on my calipers.
It probably costs a little more than the wheels cost.
Right, yeah.
So it might not be worth it.
Yeah, probably not.
But yeah, you can treat your wheels. They're either clear coated or they're powder coated, which you treat like the rest of the paint on your car.
Yeah, so we have another question from Nitro Ashley. Ashley says, you win a jackpot. What car would you buy with your money and why? So, jackpot, let's just say you run into money. You sell a business, because I don't play the lottery. I don't know if you do. I assume you don't.
I do not.
Okay, so I don't know if you play the lottery?
Nope.
No. Okay, so we don't play the lottery, but just in case a big bag of money fell from the sky and we had to spend it on a car, money, no object, what would you get?
991.2 GT3 RS. So basically the car I have, just
basically the car you have, just like slightly newer.
I'm a funny dude. Like there are
2 years newer of the car you already got.
There are two cars that I want. An M3. I want the new M3 to be good, but it sucks. I want an M3.
How dare you, sir?
And I want a GT3.
Okay.
RS, preferably.
But would you get? Would you get like something like a 918?
No.
You're not interested in that?
Nope.
What about a Singer Porsche?
Nope.
You should see the new Singer. I've seen it. It's
I'm one of the
real-
very few that say they're overrated.
They are not overrated.
They are 1,000% overrated.
They are not overrated.
They're
nice. Overpriced. They're not
nice.
overrated.
They're nice cars, but yeah, I'm with you, and especially the new one. The interior, they tried to make it look like futuristic or something. It doesn't work. I don't like it.
It works for me. The price doesn't work for me. It's $1.8 million.
It's overrated.
But
it's not worth a tenth of that. It's not worth 180 grand.
It's worth 180 grand.
It's not.
Exactly the way your buckets are worth $350. This is worth. Well, it's not worth 1.8 million.
You're taking a piece of crap car and you're trying to make it a little bit better when you could just frickin' buy a GT3
The comments
right now.
I can hear them
and
typing.
destroy
I can
all.
hear them. Ah!
Well, none of them have even driven it.
Yeah, it's true.
You've seen it from 30 feet away.
Or
If
online.
somebody in our comments section has driven a Singer Porsche, please let us know.
And then they're lying. Yeah.
My uncle had one.
No, we didn't.
No, he didn't. All right, so I think I have some more questions for you. I think we can get to that in the next podcast. We're going to do another one, and you guys can see that in the next episode in a few days. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But this was really cool, dude. I enjoyed this a lot, and we also did a podcast on
The Dialed In podcast. Yeah.
Dialed In podcast. Some obsession required, right?
Yeah, you guys are going to want to listen to that because Freddie really gets into. We talk about.
I get into
whole
it.
Yeah, there were
background, yeah.
tears. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was real deep.
I flipped the table multiple times.
Yep.
It was very, it was
nuts.
as if you were on the couch and I was.
It's just psychoanalytic. Like,
And how does that make you feel?
I don't know. I just feel like she should really. Okay, so if you'd like to contact any one of us, especially Mr. Matt Mormon over here, you can find him at Obsessed Garage. That is Instagram, Twitter. What else? Facebook?
Yep. Facebook. We have a huge Facebook group.
Oh, yeah. The Facebook group is really big. I'm part of that.
Facebook.com/groups/Obsessed Garage. Answer all the questions that my people won't let you in. They're pretty discerning. You got in?
I got in.
Oh, yeah.
I got in because people were like, oh, he's okay.
He's big. He's a big deal.
I feel like I was one of the first people in that group because as soon as it got announced, I was like, I need that.
Yeah.
Just as a resource.
I saw you there, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
It's like you show up to a party where you thought you were the only guy there, and like,
what
are you doing here?
There's some pretty discerning people in that group.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
they won't let you go with anything other than perfection. So
Well, I try to make it like no other group.
Yes, it
It
definitely is.
It
Like
is
no
a
other.
resource first and foremost.
Yes,
That's what I use it for.
So you can find him at all those things. All the links will be in the description below. You can find us at carguystalk@gmail.com, and our social media stuff will be down below. But until next time, this is me, Tavarish, for Andrew Howell and Mr. Matt Mormon, saying what do we say?
Keep on getting the cars clean because you got to have a clean car.
Because you got to clean your car.
Get them clean.